Killshot 99 Gaming. This is Walking Dead Dead City live chat. We're going to do a little recap and some reaction to tonight's show. This is the finale, so we get a little bit of a break before we roll into Daryl Dixon, September 10th. What's up, Irish Dave in the house? Man, bringing up all the old school PDL family and Walking Dead family and 999 Army and gamers, everybody. What is up, everybody? So good to see all you guys popping in for finale. I had some fun tonight. So 6 episodes, and then we've got some Daryl Dixon. We'll find out very soon if Daryl can handle his own show. And then we got We're the Ones Who Live. And I got to tell you guys, I liked it, but I'm not going to spoil my thoughts for tonight's finale. In fact, I liked all 6 episodes, but I'm going to do kind of what we like to do. First of all, let me give a big shout out to all of our channel members. Been here for a long, long time. You can see Valar right there. Valar super chatting it. Hello, 99 our Kills Great Mods channel members, all our PDL players, all our trivia players, sponsors, bundles, our cryptocurrency, everybody. We've got such a awesome group of people, and we've been here for a long time. It's good to see some of the original G's back in the house. I see Eric Beach, Deborah Cox. Want to thank you guys. So let me start out. Deadly Dimes. I'm going to get to some of your questions and comments. I've got some notes, of course. So not the entire 6 episodes. I want to know what you guys would rate tonight's episode alone as a standalone episode from a 1 to a 10. Give me your best numbers right now. Let me see where you guys. Tim says 10. Busy 8.9. B-Dub 9.1. Julian 8. Dave 8.5. 9. Harold with an 8. Bones with an 8. Deborah with a 9. JJ at 8. E-Beach 8.5. Kel 9.2. Chip 9.5. I am at Dimes 9.3. I'm giving tonight's episode a 9.7. I'm going big on this one. You know what? Last week I didn't give it the best score last week. I thought episode 5 was a little more flat. I like tonight for a variety of reasons. And I'm going to go into those reasons because I thought they set it up. Not just to mention the 7 Brad Pitt moment at the end, right? Were you guys thinking like, oh no, that's Negan's wife, or it's Negan's child or something? It was like, don't hand him the keys because this is going to be. So I'm there thinking, I'm like, it's a body part. It's a body part. Now, we'll talk about that and the relevance of that, because that is really why I gave it a 9.7. Because I love what they did with that and the connection and the psychology and all of that. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. So let's start out. Let's talk about, we got hinted at this last week. The Croat is a pawn. And I was on the fence last week of how much I wanted him to be a pawn or how much I wanted him to have a little bit of clout. Well, he has no clout. And Dama just told him as much, like, that'll be all, Croat. See ya. Peace out. Get out. So she sort of let him run his own deal. And tonight he got the claws clipped. So Dama knows that somebody like Negan can get things done, can keep people in line, can take over the next gang. So here's kind of what we got going on. We got a 7 reference. We got a poor man's Gangs of New York, right? She's talking about going from Manhattan up to Harlem. So we got gangs. This is going to be, I don't know, this might turn into like some sci-fi type of territorial takeover type of series. And I'm okay. I'm here for that because we got several narratives working at the same time. Multiple people have now fallen under the control of other people. And I thought this brought up just enough of the old school Walking Dead theory, where they're going up in the smoke. I'm like, it feels like the Sanctuary all over again. When Pearlie took Jenny. We'll talk about that. But let me start with the first thing. Was anybody here shocked or mind blown that Negan killed Jenny's dad? I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, so master predictor. I did call that fairly early in the series. So it just seemed, why is she there? What happened? Why is this connection? It's a strange bond. But here's what I liked about that. Number one, he probably deserved it. So I do definitely think, yeah, I think he killed him. I don't think that he's just saying that to get rid of her. It seemed like, hey, I need to confess this. I'm going to go ahead and confess it. Now, there was more to it. So I'm pretty certain he deserved it, and he didn't want to ruin her faith in her father. And he's so used to being the villain. I'm going to be the villain again. I need to get rid of you. But he cares about her. So, in typical Negan fashion, kill the person because they're bad, and then you find out they got a kid. So now you've left this child without a father. So immediately, he's in protection mode. He's been there before. And how long can he keep this secret? Well, he could have kept it forever. We know Negan. But he really got the opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. Come clean and protect her by getting rid of her. Yep, it's going to hurt. But she's got a positive memory of her dad, which is kind of what he wanted to do. And you can see the look on his face. I thought Jeffrey Dean Morgan did a great job with that. You could also see at the very end, when he didn't know what the Croat was going to do, he said, take care of Jenny. So we know that Negan's emotion is real. And that was a theme throughout this episode. So where I have been searching for the story to get beyond the Glenn story, I found a little bit more comfort in it tonight. So let me pause right there. And I'm going to ask those of you that watched it, pick a moment from tonight's episode and type it in chat right now that you really enjoyed. Something that maybe you didn't expect. Maybe you did expect it. But if you didn't expect it, you might have enjoyed it a little bit more. So pick a moment from tonight's episode that was kind of your go-to moment. The fight scene. And he gave up. Negan could have thrown the knife in New York Harbor. He dropped it, and he wanted to put the ball in Maggie's court. Would you guys agree with that? Would you agree that he pretty much said, if you're going to turn me in, you're going to turn me in. If you're not, you're not. So he wanted, this is the final act of redemption. When Maggie turned Negan over, she turned him over with the assumption he would be tortured and he would die. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, she's obviously not turning him over so he can go brutalize more people. She is saying, here, you can have him do whatever you want. Give me my son back. I can go home and sleep at night knowing he's dead. So, can we, as fans, as viewers, as characters in The Walking Dead, can we say that Maggie just killed Negan and it's over? It's over. There's no more redemption. There's no more debt to pay. You basically just put this guy on death row for all of his crimes, all of the bad he did to Glenn. At this point, Maggie is done. No need to ever kill him again or to kill him again and again. It's over. This is the writer's final hurrah. He saved dogs. He cares about kids. He still kills people occasionally. So, the part where Negan walked past Herschel even. Good seeing you again, kid. He's changed. Well, here's the part. Did we, yes or no, tonight did we make Herschel Carl 2.0? I like that too. I was down for some deja vu. Didn't you kind of get that Carl vibe? Where Negan cares about the kid, and now Negan's got to do some things to keep this crazy lady from going back after Herschel again. We'll get to that. We'll have a little toe talk in a little bit. Before I do that, though, how about all right, I'm going to give you guys something, okay? But I need you to put 999s in chat. I'm going to give you super deep insight into something that I noticed tonight, and I loved it. I loved it. You might not have called it, but I'm going to catch it for you. That's my job. My job to do a little bit of the extra stuff here. Because when I tell you this, you're going to be like, whoa. And some of you might have noticed it, but you might have to watch it 2 or 3 times to notice it. Did you guys notice that Pearly is Negan? The scenes played out almost exactly the same. Pearly sits down. He's offered a cigar. Tells a story. Nah, don't want it. Don't want it. And then his superior says, hey, how your daughters doing? How's your family doing? Oh, he's leveraged. And then, I don't want to hear your BS story anymore. Here, would you like this cigar now? Yeah. Oh, I knew you couldn't turn that down. So we got these sins of iniquity. Both of these men, they don't want to drink, they don't want to smoke. And then when their world changes and they have to go into the different character, then Pearly fires one up and then she says, I want to know about the methane. She wants to know what's going on up in New York. We want the energy source. We want to know what they're doing, and we might have to come after you. All right, that's a good narrative. Let's fast forward to Negan. We get Negan right there with Dama. Would you like this burp? Nope, I'm a gin man. Would you like to sit down? Nope, I got a cramp. Well, I got this toe of Herschel, and then Negan sits down, and he drinks it. So both of those scenes played out very well to develop Pearly's character and Negan's character. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. That's why I gave it a 9.7. So it also lends credibility into the fact this is what happened to Rick Grimes. Somebody knows something about Rick Grimes. And I would absolutely not be surprised if that was the type of leverage that they used to keep Rick from going back. But we'll get to that in 2024. All right, let's talk a little bit, because we're going to have a lot of fun. So before I get too far ahead, and we keep these streams about 30 minutes, but tonight I could probably talk about 2 hours. But I do want to tell you guys, compared to this show, and this show I think is done very well, Daryl Dixon already gotten over 1 million views for the trailer. So that's going to be a hit. Now, I'm not trying to influence you, but didn't tonight's teaser for Daryl Dixon kind of feel like a Hugh Jackman, Anne Hathaway sort of Christmassy European type of dark series coming up? Then you kind of get that feel like, oh, it's coming up for the holidays. This is going to take us back to like medieval Europe. We got like Moulin Rouge, and we got priest and villain and scars and tattoos and Europe. It seemed really cool. So I think it's going to bring a different type of villain, a different type of story. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that series. All right, so back to Dead City. You know, Corey, I agree with that. This episode was awesome. Negan's such a good character. Well written. Can't wait for season 2. Negan's playing the Croat. Everyone else involved. Maybe. I agree with you, Corey, up until now. But I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that when Negan gets a little taste of the dark side again, a little bit of that power that's already set up for him, I do agree. I do agree he was playing the Croat. But I'm not saying he can't go back. And I do think he is going to go back against, at first, definitely against the people that deserve it, right? Because here's something that I think the writers always wanted to do. I do think they wanted us to see Negan be Negan and us not have reservations about Rick and Glenn and Abraham. So I think with this series, what they have started to do and what they can do is say, let's go get him a Lucille and let him make the jokes, because a good, dark, character like a Jack Reacher or like a John Wick is pretty dang cool. So if they can make Negan in this series into like a John Wick, we got something. We got something really, really awesome, because we like that. We like that. Well, John Wick has a, you don't mess with his dog, or this is what happens. So imagine crossing Negan now, and you're a bad person, and now Negan can be as bad as we want, and we're going to cheer for his badness. Because I got to tell you, I'd have been okay if he'd have killed Maggie tonight. I never thought I'd say that, but I'd have been all right with it. Once she tried the little stab move, I mean, she stabbed him. So, you know, if that had been the end of Maggie's story tonight, I'd have been like, yes! That's what you get. So, that part of how deep the storyline was, where prior to that, did you guys see how many times that Negan and Maggie sort of looked over at each other? You could feel that coming, right? Every time they take a step, one looks over the other one, the other. So he knew. He knew he was being led into an ambush. So because he knew he was being led into an ambush, and he knew Maggie was leading him into an ambush, how cool was it, after knowing what the Croat did to that other girl, how cool was it that Negan was going to tell Jenny the truth to keep her away from the Croat? So, again, that was set up very nicely, because Maggie couldn't have Jenny tagging along either. So Maggie was 100% supporting it. Negan just did Maggie a favor and did her a favor. So, a few call-outs, a few bullet points. What I liked. I like Negan telling her the truth. I liked the suspense of Maggie and Negan one final fight. I liked the fact that Negan threw the knife down beside her so she could pick it up and make her own decision. That he left it up to her. And he even told her as much. We could have found Herschel together because we make a good team. I did not like that there was no suspense in what the Croat was going to do. To me, that was the only part that was lacking. Is I had zero doubt that he was taking Negan to the Dama, and that he was basically, because they spoiled it for me last week. Last week when he had to kiss the ring and she shut him down, I would have rather they left that out, that they found a different way to build who she was, and sort of left us hanging of whether or not Negan was going to be tortured. Right? I think that would have gotten the audience a little bit more points, like, oh no, where's he taking Negan? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I mean, after last week, I knew he was okay. And I'm going to spend the next probably 6 or 7 minutes talking about that. But before I do that, what did you not like? Those of you that rated an 8, a 9, maybe some of the things that I liked you didn't like. So if you rated it below a 9 tonight, I want to know what parts of tonight's episode did you not enjoy? Because I think some of you, if you watch it again, you'll probably like it. Might just been a couple things that you missed. All right, so the mods are like 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to start with this. Bones, bringing Negan to the Dama, way too predictable. It was predictable for everybody. But the only thing I could say is they didn't have a way to work it into the story. Because either we don't know who she is or we're going to be wondering who she is. So I understand why they did it. I wish they would have did it better. But to me, that was minor, because the bigger picture is what happens next. Julia, over the Maggie and Negan thing. Well, the reason I liked it was because I felt like she just sent him to death row, not knowing what was going to happen. All debts are paid. She used Negan to get what she wanted. She got a life back for a life. So as far as she's concerned, he's dead, her son's alive. That's it. Next time they team up, there's going to be no looking over your shoulder. All right, so Corey says how quickly Negan, or Dama was at Negan's mercy. Let me tell you why. All right, one more master prediction. And then I got to wrap up with a little icing on the cake. Give me 999s. I'm going to give you one more tidbit. This is not a spoiler. This is not from Spoiling Dead's fan page. This is from the heart and soul of Killshot. Okay? I'm going to give you my best here. Not the B level predictions. I'm going to give you the A level. I'm going to give you the good stuff right now. This is how we do it. I've seen it. Like my mind's eye right now. I got it. That's it. That is it, Corey. She said it tonight. This is a small-time operation. And when Negan gets involved in that, it's going to open the door to the baddies, the CRM that has Rick Grimes. That's what we got to think about. We're showing layers of control. The Marshals are one small layer of control. The Croat, we found out he's nothing. Now we think the Dama runs things. No, she doesn't run things. She has Manhattan. She's trying to take over Harlem. So somebody runs Harlem that's bigger and stronger. So that means the Dama reports to somebody. Maybe, if not, she's small time. So what we're doing is we're rebuilding the Walking Dead universe. Because when we get to the CRM, I'm going to tell you, with Jadis and with what they did on Fear for the little bit of time I watched Fear, with the helicopters and the firepower, that ain't methane. That ain't a cooler that you paddle yourself across New York Harbor. They have boats and trucks and tanks and a lifestyle and people. Lots and lots of people. Negan is getting reacquainted to the war. So is Pearlie. Reacquainted. So we're adding a larger than life effect to these characters to build them back up. To get Negan where he's not like a small-time criminal, he's the big kingpin. Now, the real bottom line is going to be when Negan rises through the ranks, and y'all know it's going to happen. Mark your calendars, because I said it, 7/23/23. It's going to take a couple years. Is when Maggie and Negan bust out Michonne and Rick, and the four of them have to go in after the CRM. That's when it becomes real. That's what we're working toward. It was okay. We could send Daryl across the ocean for a couple years because we ain't going to need him. Because we got Negan trying to take care of New York. We got Rick probably in Philadelphia, wherever they got him hidden at. And the whole group is going to get back together. We got spinoffs right now, but you mark it down. The Walking Dead will be back. And they're going to bring them all. We're going to get some Aaron. We're going to get some Ezekiel. We're going to get some Oceanside. We're going to get some Daryl. But how cool is going to be if we could get everybody back against the Commonwealth for 2 or 3 seasons before we stick a fork in it? It is going to be awesome. You know what? We're 45 minutes into the stream. Last thing I want to talk about. The leverage with Herschel and the Herschel arc. Because the Negan and Maggie redemption arc is over. 100% over. Writers are tired of it. They know we're tired of it. All of those things. Herschel was born into this world after the world had changed. What Herschel has seen, undead, power struggle, what it takes to survive. I think that Herschel has an admiration for Negan that Maggie does not have, for obvious reasons. One, Herschel wasn't there. Number two, the new world has a pecking order. Herschel is intrigued by that. What does it take to become that person? Two more things happen tonight, and this is bonus, okay? Two more things happen. And this is where I'm really, really going to read between the lines. And I'm going to ask all of y'all that gave it an 8, an 8.1, 8.2. I'm only going to tell you this if we get these scores up into the 9s. Deal? All right. I'm going to give you something right now. Last thing I'm going to give you that is going to change your score from an 8 to a 9. Because this is the only narrative that matters. Corey hit on a little bit of it earlier, but this is why I didn't really address it with Corey too much, because he said Negan's intellectual, Negan's outsmarting him. I don't disagree with that, but Corey, I don't think that's where the arc is. Some of that is true. There were two more stories that were simultaneous. I mentioned the Negan story and the Pearly story, but there were two other characters that had a similar arc. And when I tell you these two names, at first you're probably going to be like, what the hell are you talking about, Kills? The Croat and Herschel. Let that sink in for a second. Negan finally sees that his crime in this world is that he created villains. That's the drawback. That is the drawback. When the Croat told the story about I felt that, I got chills when he said it. And he said, you taught me that luckily he was still breathing, but then you weren't mad at me and you had to hit him again. And I'm not sure what word he used, submission, maybe. But he basically said, this is how you beat somebody with everybody watching so they are completely and utterly helpless. And that's what changed the Croat's life. And I mentioned this many, many years ago. Like you guys said, they've been here for a long time. My problem was never that Negan killed Glenn. My problem was the pictures of him in the headlights of the truck howling at the moon and reveling in the glory of the pain that he caused on other people. And as much as the writers have struggled with the arc of let's clean Negan up and get him back to where people can stomach him, they have never been able to put the icing on the cake for that. Well, tonight, the reason this episode was such a masterpiece was Negan agreeing with the Croat, where he said, "We had some great times, didn't we?" "Yes, we did." And Negan is acknowledging, yes, you did have great times with the person that I used to be. And now I realize that I created the monster that is you. I did that. Nobody above Negan did that. Negan did that. And he sees it with Herschel. Because the next monster, the next prisoner, Maggie's got the pictures of him drawing Dama. Of them, they took his toe. And Negan understands the torture. So you got these two characters of the Croat, who's already too far gone, and Herschel, who is trending in a very, very dark serial killer direction. Would you guys agree that Herschel's attitude, his antics, his desire, all of those things make him look like a future serial killer? And Negan is smart enough to own that responsibility. He knows it. And now he will work for Dama to do anything to keep these people away from him so he can have a somewhat normal life. And it ain't going to happen. It is not going to happen. So that is the depth of the art. Exactly, right? The artwork, the sketches, like those things paints a really, really dark future for Herschel. Maggie can't reach him. She can't communicate. She can't get to the core of what's wrong. I've been ignored. All of those things are warning signs. And that's why that part of Herschel was so powerful. I know when some people, they saw it, they were probably like, okay, big deal. They got Herschel's toe. What does that even mean? That's not enough to keep Negan away. Well, yes, it is. Because Negan gets the big picture. He understands. And what upsets Negan more than anything in this world that you cannot do? You cannot torture kids. Brilliant episode. Unbelievable depth. This is what Nav, Harold, Corey, saw Marsha there. This is what I missed with The Walking Dead. They can give us spoilers. They can show the show early. But they can't break it down the way that we break it down. All right. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Unbelievable season. I got one request, one ask of all of you. We're going to be back September 10th. for Daryl Dixon. Let's get out of the gates in a big, big way, and let's show the Walking Dead universe that we are back, that Daryl can carry his own show. The fear days are over. The world beyond days are over. Look, I applaud them for the effort, but it just was not The Walking Dead. And this 6-part series made me feel like The Walking Dead was back. The Daryl Dixon Show is going to make you feel it is back. And next year, we're going to have Dead City again, more Daryl Dixon, and a third show. And they're all going to be excellent. All right, do me one last favor, everybody. Give me 999s in chat. I want to give you guys one more shout out. Actually, you know what? Give me your final score. Let's reassess it. Let's forget those scores we had at the beginning. Give me your final score. I want to see if we made an impact. I want to see if we brought up some good points. You guys made some excellent points tonight. Loved it. There. Now I'm seeing those 9s. 9, 9.4, 9.3, 9, 9. That's what I'm talking about. We love it. We love what they did with it. We got a 10. We got a 9.4. And when they do a good job, we are going to talk about it. I see Saviors. I see Deadly Dimes. And if you guys, those of you who were here last week, I was critical of last week's episode. Last week I scored it the lowest one of the 6 because the other 4 I thought were phenomenal. And then I thought there was a little bit of a letdown last week. And then, boom, they came back out and they crushed it this week. Absolutely crushed it. So, thanks, everybody. Big, big shout out to our 999 Army, each and every one of you. Walking Dead fans, keep your support for The Walking Dead, and believe it, we will be back here not doing spoilers, doing our predictions. We're going to predict The Walking Dead universe, and I can't do it without each and every one of you. Thank you so much. I see Kel in the house. Give me 999s. One more shout-outs for the season. I see Harold Evans. I see Corey. Good to see you. Busy B, Deadly Dimes, Julia, Deborah Cox, Dr. Dye, Eric Beach, Tim Lamora, thank you so much. Bomber Bones in the house. And if I missed any of you guys, I'll definitely catch you in the next one. Have a good night, everybody. Give this video a thumbs up before you head out. Talk to you soon. Peace.